Hey everyone, welcome to my studio. This week I'm working on Moses Parting the Sea mosaic, focusing on Moses. I just started last week. Let me show you how far I am. Here it is. I just got started on his face. I'm going to finish up the beard first and move on from there. I think that the face and the hands are the trickiest part, so after I get this beard done, I'm going to tackle the hands. And I don't want to forget to mention that this is one of 3 mosaics that are going around the sides of a fountain in a courtyard at a church. I've already finished and installed the first one, which is Moses striking the rock, and the second one, which is Moses in the Nile River. Time to get started on this beard. Here we go. I'm about to start the hand right there. And let me just show you my dilemma. Here it is, blown up. It looks funny to me. So I printed it out and I tried to fix it by moving the thumb up, which I thought would be a more natural position, and adding fingernails and just sort of making a few changes. And I can't work from this because this finger still looks messed up and it's just not looking right. So I thought what I need is a reference photo. So I had my husband stand and hold something, and the main difference is that these fingers are pointing up and these fingers are pointing down. But when I had him hold his arm at the same level that Moses is holding his arm, it was impossible for him to put his fingers pointing upward when the staff was away from him. It's just a position that's impossible to do. So that is why it is off, and I am going to do this hand, and I'm just going to stick it right here. And then since I was doing that, I went ahead and did the same thing and took a picture of his hand foreshortened just like it is here, and the fingers are just much easier to follow because it's much more accurate than what I tried to fix. So I'm going to go off of these photos and I'm just going to build it on the photo and then move it over onto the mesh. That's it. If this hand looks a little bit wonky to you, it might be because my husband smashed his finger in a car door and I don't know, had to go through rehab and everything. So he kind of has a crooked finger. I can't even remember which one. I don't care. Maybe the same thing happened to Moses when he was working. So that's the hand I'm using. Gives it character. There's still one thing that's a little bit off, and that's that the staff is drawn in much thinner than this roll. So I'm going to compensate on both sides. I'm going to cut off part of this roll and just fudge the hand in there. And then I'm going to make this staff a little bit wider than it is in the drawing. That's it. All right, I have finished building up the hand on this little template that I have. Unfortunately, I think that I will never be able to transfer that accurately onto this hand, which is a bit different. So I have printed another one, covered it in shelf paper, and cut a little slit here. And I am going to stick this in the correct position, and then I'm going to adhere these pieces on top of it in place. Now, one reason I cut this is because I thought when I cut this thing apart in the end, this is where I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it here, and then I don't know how I'll go around the hand, but it's going to cut back this way up at the top. So this is going to be cut eventually, but I thought if it's going to be cut eventually, I may as well cut it now rather than pull up the tape and try to slip it underneath. So I've got to get this in the right position, and then I'll be adhering it in place. So happy to have these tricky hands done. I just have this wrist to do, and then I can move on to, I'm going to do the outer tunic, and I've pulled the reds that I had set aside that show me what colors I used on the other one, plus a whole plethora of other reds. So before I can get to the red, I have to finish this wrist. I'm going to first draw it in, since I have a bit of the photo with the sleeve of my husband's sleeve on there. I want to get rid of that. Started on the outer garment of Moses. These eyes have been staring at me, and they are bothering me because I can see the white thinset. So I am going to grout just the tiny bit of these eyes with a dark grout, one that I will be using when I go to grout the entire thing. It is Spectralock 1 in Dusty Gray. Here it is. Dusty gray. So this is the dark gray color that I'll be using. And I'm only going to do these eyes because it's bothering me and I don't want to look at them anymore. And they're small enough that it's not going to matter in the end. start on his outer tunic. I've got most of the dark red parts in, and even if they're not glued down yet, they are cut out. I do like to leave some pieces loose, at least until I get the next piece next to it. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room so I can do them both at the same time. Nice start on that. This robe area is really quite large, so hopefully I'll be able to finish it next week, and I'm happy to have these hands done. I was thinking though that I should probably do this belt before I continue on with the rest of the robe. So next week I might start with the belt since it's on top of the robe and then fill in with that outer tunic thing. That's it. That's putting it together. Thanks for watching. See you next time.